Hi folks, Rodney back again. Hey, this is part 2 of my 12,000 mile review. And so if you haven't had an opportunity to watch the previous, be sure and find that video and then take a watch. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I love about the truck, some of the things that I wish they had done better, and just some of the things that I've kind of encountered over the time. In the previous video kind of talked about some of the things that I loved about the truck, some of the things that I wish they had done better. We talked about fit and finish. We talked about performance. Now I'm going to talk about fuel economy. So, like I said, I have 12,266 miles on the truck right now. I have a pretty good idea what fuel economy is going to be. And one of the things that I have done is I did go to the TRD Pro filters. If you haven't seen those, they have a red casing around them. The screen itself is actually a little more opened up, and it is a washable filter, so you can reuse it. So you can just wash it, clean it, and then reuse it. So you know that may save some additional cost. I was trying to remember. I think they're like $65 a piece, so it's around $130 to $135. You can find them on Amazon. You can get them on through your Toyota parts store. But one of the things that I saw is I saw about a mile to maybe 2 mile per gallon improvement, just depending on the driving situation. In town, I saw a mile per gallon. I saw about 2 out on the highway. You get better throttle response. You can definitely hear the turbo whistle a little bit more, and you know, just overall improvement in power and performance. So that's definitely something you may want to consider. So running around town, I'm getting about 18 and a half. Out on the highway, I get around 20. I did go to Hoodoo, which is, let's see, I just did it again yesterday, and it was around 150 miles round trip. I was in the rain yesterday and then pushing heavy winds, so it wasn't quite the same. I got about 19 miles per gallon yesterday, but I got 21.3 the week before that. So, you know, a lot of it is situational. But anyway, I definitely see an improvement in the fuel economy and the performance with those filters. So it might be something you may want to consider. We talked about fit and finish in the last video. Talked about the tires. I think the tires are actually pretty good. I think the carcass is pretty soft, so it helps with your traction. But then you also get a little more body roll out of them too. I mentioned in the other video, I had them do the delete on the engine noise enhancement. Funny thing is that, you know, even though they deleted the engine enhancement, you still hear that engine noise, and it sounds exactly the same. It's just at a quieter volume. You definitely hear a lot more exhaust now that that's been deleted, and obviously it's quieter in the cab. It's easier to have a conversation where it wasn't loud before, but I think it's definitely better. I think it's better personally, and I know that's a personal preference, but it's quieter in all regards. What else have we got to cover? There's been 4 open recalls that have come out on the truck. Let me get out of the sun here because I know that'll blind you guys. Anyway, 4 open recalls. So one was on the rear end where they had to go in there and just inspect the torque settings on the bolts, and mine was perfectly fine. There's another one where they say sometimes images won't show up when you're put it in reverse, and so it pertained to the backup camera, and I never had any issues with that. There's also been one on the emergency brake not engaging properly. Never had an issue with that either. And there was one other one. It's a dog running this way. But anyway, there was another one that pertained to electronics as well. And like I said, there's been 4 videos that have come out, but I've not had issues with any of them. And so, you know, that's something that definitely you guys could get, and it may show up, but you may not have that issue either. So what else? You know, I think that you know, if any of you guys have watched my videos before, you guys know that I am a Toyota salesperson. So I am probably a little brand loyal. I know that there's a lot of people are. I've been in the car business for about 20, probably almost 24 years now. And I worked for Ford for a long time, you know, many years ago. And I've been with Toyota for about, you know, a little over 10 years now. One of the biggest things that I've seen about Toyotas is they definitely hold a higher resale value. And Ford makes a great product. I mean, Chevy and Ram make a great product too. The one thing that I will say is that when talking about Toyotas, and like I said, I am maybe a little brand loyal, but I also sell a lot of pre-owned vehicles too. And so the one thing that you'll find with pre-owned vehicles, let's take the Ram for instance, a lot of them seem to have electrical issues, and transmission issues. So I'm not trying to bash them, but I want to say that there's going to be issues with no matter what brand you get. And you have those diehard Ram buyers, they love the truck, so it doesn't matter what you tell them, that's just what they're going to believe, and that's okay. And so with that, you know, saying all that to say this, I'm not trying to force you guys to buy a Toyota. I'm not selling you anything. I'm just speaking of just kind of past experience. And, you know, it's hopefully, you know, whether you're waiting to get a Tundra or you're thinking about buying a Tundra, you know, these are just some of the things that I've kind of experienced and encountered. And, you know, hopefully that will help you make a logical decision, you know, of either whether you want to purchase one or things to expect once you get yours. In the beginning, when I first got my truck, there was quite a few infotainment issues. And when I say that, there was pop-ups that would come up on the screen. I had several times where my screen just went gray, and like I was using a navigation system, and then all of a sudden everything went gray, and it was kind of cloudy out and it was raining a little bit, and I thought, well, maybe somehow it's lost satellite signal and it's not communicating anymore. So it didn't matter what I did. Once the sky kind of cleared up a little bit, still wouldn't work. So I pulled in at a rest area. I shut the truck off. When I came back out, it started up and it was working fine again. So, you know, they definitely had some glitches in the system. I think that compared to all the other Toyota systems that we've had in the past for the infotainment, I say this is definitely heads above the rest. Was there some issues? Obviously. Are they still working on them? I think so. They did send out a update, and ever since I did the update, I've not had any of those issues anymore. So I think that enough people complained about it, and I think that they you know, obviously found some fixes for it, and was able to get that taken care of. But yeah, that was definitely something that you may encounter. But hopefully they've already gotten taken care of and you won't. I did have another situation early on where somebody cut me off and I had to slam on the brakes. And as I slammed on the brakes, I had the brake pedal depressed long enough where it shut the engine off. And so it obviously went into the auto stop start feature. And when I let my foot off, it started to start back up. But then it's like it was I don't know, almost malfunctioning, so to speak. And it was just kind of sitting there at a rough idle. And so I finally put it in park, shut the truck off, and started back up, and everything worked fine. But that's obviously a glitch in the system where it's not working properly. I did talk about in the last video how sometimes when I pull up to home and I go to put the gear shift selector in park, the engine will automatically shut off as soon as you put it in park, and then it will start right back up, and then you can shut it off. But if it shuts off in the middle of you putting it in park or hitting the stop button rather, it says what does it say? Shut off performed improperly. So you have to start it back up. So there's still some quirky things that are kind of going on with the truck. It's never been a situation where it's left me stranded anywhere. Like I said, I did have that one situation where somebody pulled in front of me and I had to slam on the brakes. But it started right back up and there was no issue there. So What else have I encountered? If you're backing up to a trailer and you go to open your door as you're backing up, it will lock the brakes up. And I'm sure they do that as a safety feature. But if you guys have been around and pulled a trailer for a while, how often have you opened the door just so you have better visibility on how close you are to the trailer? Now, granted, when you have the panorama view, you have 6 monitors, so you have pretty good visibility of where you're at, and you have a line that helps direct you center, so you can help get that trailer lined up. But like I said, just a habit, just open up the door just to kind of look outside, and then all of a sudden the brakes lock. So that was kind of weird. And then I also had another time where I had a bike rack on the back, and I went to back up, and as I started to back up, the bike rack caused the it's not the rear cross traffic alert, but it's your parking sensors, and so it detected an object there, so it locked up the brakes on that. So just keep in mind that if you do have something like, for instance, a bike rack that you put into the receiver hitch, go ahead and turn off your parking sensors so that doesn't happen if you ever do decide to kind of back up. Not had any issues with four-wheel drive. Performance-wise, handling. If anybody doesn't know already, and hopefully the sun's not going to be too bright, but you do have the ability to turn off the lane departure. So you can push it to turn it on or push it to turn it off. But as soon as you start the truck, it's automatically going to come right back on. So what you can do is you can push and hold it, and then within a few seconds, then it completely shuts it off. And so that what I was referring to is, you have lane departure, and then lane trace assist, which kind of helps you keep centered in the lane. And you can hit one, but then it seems like the other one just is on all the time. But you can turn it off, so that's how you do that. I think that's about it. Is the truck perfect? No. Is the truck amazing? Absolutely. It's, hands down is so much better than the previous generation Tundra that we've had. It's smoother, it's quieter, it's far more fuel efficient, better performance. It's a better ride, better handling. I've heard a couple of people complain that they didn't like the stereo system. Obviously, I have the JBL audio system in this, and I think the JBL audio system sounds really good. Now, I have been in some other Tundras that don't have the JBL audio system, and I think that they could definitely improve that. The head unit is exactly the same. It's just they put a different size monitor if you have the JBL. And then, of course, with the JBL, you get the amplifier, the subwoofer, and then additional speakers. So that definitely makes a huge improvement in the sound. So anyway, I think that that's about it. If you guys have any questions, any comments, please don't hesitate to send them my way. There has been some people that have sent me the VIN number, want me to check the status on their vehicle. Hey, feel free to go on ahead and do that. If there's anything I can help with, that's what I'm here for. I'm not trying to sell you anything, as I mentioned, but I do want to try to help you, in the situation that, number one, trying to figure out when you're going to get your truck, or two, things to expect and what you can do to kind of fix the situation. So anyway, thanks again for watching. If you have any questions, like I said, send them my way. Take the time to like and subscribe. And if you know of somebody looking for a Tundra or thinking about getting one, be sure and share this video with them. Thanks again.